All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Coffee and Sports in the Morning here on Wire to Wire Sports Network. I'm your guest host this morning from my man Carmike, and I got my brother from another mother with me. I got my man Mo Better. Mo, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Will? On a wonderful Tuesday. Lots of NBA action to get into. Let's get it.
NBA action is fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, let's go ahead and get into this thing. Last night was real interesting. I just want to say thank you to the New York Knicks one more time for messing up my parlay. Knicks. Oh my goodness, we're gonna get to them in a minute, but first, I do want to go into the battle of the MVPs. We got the Denver Nuggets getting the win, 121 over the Thunder, 121 to 119. Mo, what was your thoughts on the game? First off,
I give the Nuggets a lot of credit because they did something that most teams can't do. Oklahoma City is one of those teams that goes on multiple runs. And if you can't stay close, if you can't keep them within reach, they'll usually just pull away and blow the doors off you. I said this yesterday on the show that if Denver can make it a little bit more physical, if they can muck it up a little bit and stay attached, I think Denver has a chance. We're talking about the deeper team versus still. I would argue that Denver's starting five is as good as anybody's. But yeah, look, OKC's a deeper team, but there's a reason why I don't think they're going to win the finals. There's something about I don't know if it's a mental toughness issue or a leadership issue, but if you can make it close, if you can make it to where they're not looking like the Globetrotters shooting practice shots and make them and make OKC work, they can be
oh
beaten.
my goodness,
They can be beaten. They can be had. And I don't even think Denver played their best game. Jokic looked like Jokic. Like, we can agree that SGA is this season's MVP, right? We can also agree that Joker is still the best player in basketball.
yes.
You saw the separation between the two last night on display. Joker goes for 18 in the fourth quarter. Completely just took over the game. Now, he had some help because I thought Aaron Gordon was sensational. He's been sensational all postseason. And if he's going to shoot that well from the perimeter, like I said, I didn't favor Denver to win this series, but I'm consistent in the fact that I don't believe Oklahoma City is going to win the West.
Catrell, what's up, brother? How you doing, man? Age or debate of rest versus rust? Any validity on your part on that, Mo?
Sure. I mean, there's a case for that, but look, the saying usually is if you look at the numbers, a team coming off of like a day and a half of rest in Denver situation and then playing the team with the home court advantage, they almost always lose. And like nothing, they broke that trend. Denver came in there, they were competitive. Every time Oklahoma City went up by double digits, the Nuggets were able to stay attached by going on a mini run themselves. And here's the crazy part. If Michael Porter Jr. ever decides to wake up and join this series, Oklahoma City's in trouble.
Also in trouble when Chet Holmgren missed his 2 free throws going down the stretch that could have won the game for you.
But that goes to that mental toughness thing, right? That goes to that mental toughness thing. He's not playing with a 15-point cushion. No. That was money time in a close game. Look, I'm just saying they have a symptom. It showed up last year. I think it's going to show up again this year.
How Stephen A said it, palms get sweaty, backsides get tight. When you get down there to the nitty-gritty, when the lights shine the brightest, you got to come through.
If he had to step to the line and they were up 13, he would have made them both.
He said that because all the rusty teams lost game one. You are right, my friend. As we get on to the next game, this made me see. This just ruined my damn night. Knicks beat the Celtics 108 to 105. Jalen Brunson was the leading scorer for the Knicks, 29 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. Jason Tatum leads the way for the Celtics, 23 points, 16 rebounds, 6 assists. What are your thoughts on this game? And can the Celtics overcome this atrocious 3-point shooting?
I think this game is similar to the Denver OKC game. The only difference here is, though, they didn't lose because of rust. They lost because they missed 45 threes.
Yeah.
They lost the game because they missed 45 threes. They put up a historical number of misses.
Yes.
That's why they lost. And they are one of the better defensive teams. I never felt like in the second half the Knicks had any trouble getting to where they wanted to in their spots.
Uh-oh. My brother Gene in the chat. Gene, what's up, man? How you doing, bro?
So the fact that they could get any shot they wanted, because when they move the ball, OG Anunoby, in terms of being a catch and shoot wing, is one of the best in the game.
He also had a good game.
He was fantastic in that game.
Yeah, he was.
He kept them attached. And then when it became a money time, when it became a clutch time game, that's all Brunson. That was all Brunson. And they kept dragging the same mismatch over and over.
Yep.
Starts off with Drew Holiday. Here comes the screen. He's got Al Horford. It's a wrap. Yep. There's no way Al Horford can stay in front of Jalen Brunson.
No.
And I kept thinking, okay, Mazzulla's going to make the adjustments. He's going to trap him, or he's going to hard hedge off of Josh Hart, because I'm not afraid of Josh Hart shooting threes. No. I'm not guarding Josh, but he didn't make that adjustment. And the crazy part is, you're the home team. You expect you might get a little bit more favor towards the free throw line, right, on calls. But that's only if you play aggressive. And I thought the Celtics in the second half played right into the Knicks' hands. Like, it felt like the Celtics were going back and forth trying to take hero shots, especially Tatum and Brown. They took 20 shots in the third quarter. 19 of those shots were three. Not one time that they attacked the basket or tried to get to the basket.
Yep.
Jason Tatum, no question in my mind, he's a top 6 or 7 player in the league. But if there's one thing that's maddening about him as a player, you can watch him stagger the guy that's covering him. And instead of attacking his legs and getting to the basket, he's got to do a side step back. Unnecessarily. For whatever reason, it's like just out of habit, he goes to that side step back.
Let me catch up with the chat here real quick as you guys are listening to Coffee and Sports in the Morning here on Wire Wire Network. I said it last week on here, and I'll say it again. Jalen Brunson will be the best player in this series.
I don't know about that. I think he certainly was the best player, or at least tied for the best player. I think OG might have been the best player, but I think he
played well last night.
He was the best player last night. But if he's the best player in this series, then they're going to win the series. I love Jalen Brunson. I don't think he's a better player than Jason Tatum, even though it bared out differently last night. A lot of times I think Jason Tatum's worst enemy is Jason Tatum. It's not who's in front of him. And look, it's a great game, and I take nothing away from the Knicks, because that was a fantastic game. And if they were going to make this a series, they would come out and punch Boston in the face in game one and establish it's going to be a series. Well, they did that. Mission accomplished.
Yep.
Mission accomplished. Do I feel differently off of this game going forward in the series? No. The Celtics are still the better team. They're still the better team. And I still think ultimately they'll win this series, but I think the Knicks are going to make it competitive. I don't feel about them losing game one the same way I feel about the Cavs losing game one.
Right.
I think the Cavs losing game one and the way they lost game one is disturbing. And for people to just write it off and go, they'll get it together. I saw a couple of more of the Cavs players get injured. They already down their second leading scorer. Look, I'm just being real. If they think they're going to win this series minus Darius Garland, they are not going to win this series. If Darius Garland's not going to play, they're not going to win.
Morning, Jerry. How you doing? Look at Trail. Boo. Oh, my goodness.
I'm just saying.
What's the difference? Cavs shots weren't falling.
No, the difference was you had a guy in here who's a rotation player, and you was missing an all-star guard who gives you 19 or 20 a game, is another facilitator to take pressure off of Mitchell. That's a huge difference. What was different is Evan Mobley, who was DPOY, looked anything like DPOY. It was a huge difference.
Cavs win with or without Garland.
Okay. Well, I will take that bet. If Garland doesn't play, they lose in the series.
Wow. We shall see. We shall definitely.
Not only will they lose the series, Halliburton going to be the best player in the series. He's going to do whatever he wants. He's going to be able to do whatever he wants the entire series. And this isn't saying Garland is a lockdown defender. He's a capable defender. But what Garland does is he doesn't allow you to hide Halliburton on defense. You have to guard Garland. He actually can't guard him, but you have to guard Garland.
I'd rather lose with Mr. Impeach than with my whole roster.
I get that. Although Porzingis didn't play in the second half, and he's a big part of the Celtics, so it really wasn't the whole roster.
Yeah. Facts. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears. Let me ask you about a certain individual. We talked about him last night on Sports Report as his, how can I say this? He flued out a certain adult entertainer and had some fun the night before Game 7, or maybe the day of Game 7. We don't really know. That came out as he proceeded to shoot 8 shots. Why do you think James Harden comes up short when the lights are brightest?
It's difficult to say, but I think a lot of times when we talk about really, truly great players, or when we start ranking them, I think that James Harden, more times than not, has failed the mental toughness test more time. It's not about his talent. It's not even about his skill set, which I'm 100% on board with the late, great Kobe Bryant. I don't think you can win a title that way. Which, by the way, could lead into a whole nother conversation with Luka, but I'll stay on the topic at hand. I think that James Harden, he has all the talent. He's got a high basketball IQ, super high basketball IQ, but I think the mental toughness to be a leader, to step up when it matters most, he's never passed that bar. That's not saying he's not a great player, but he's never passed that bar. And look, to be clear, the Nuggets beat the brakes off of the Clippers in Game 7. Like,
yeah, they did.
If James Harden went for 30, they just would have lost by 20. Like, he is not the sole reason they lost. Kawhi didn't play well. Z didn't play well. Like, nobody bothered to show up for Game 7. So I get it. Harden has this history of falling apart in Game 7s. It's his lot in life. It's not going to change the fact that if you look at the overarching numbers and everything he's accomplished in his career, he's going to walk into the Hall of Fame, right? He is. But when we start talking about greatest this or greatest that, he won't be in any of those conversations.
Jury says he folds under pressure and becomes disengaged. This is true.
Right, but that's a mental thing. That's a lack of mental that's a lack of mental toughness. That's not a physical thing.
I do agree. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that, unless he falls onto a roster that doesn't necessarily, or would have to necessarily depend on him, I don't think he ever wins a title.
So here, it's an interesting conversation, right? Because I could write a 2,000-page book on players and where they should be, not what their talent dictates, but where they should be in terms of being the number 1, number 2, and so on option on a team. James Harden at the peak of his powers, his numbers at the peak of his powers when he went from the Rockets, that whole time with the Rockets, his numbers line up with a lot of all-time great players. His numbers line up with Luka's numbers.
Yeah.
All I'm trying to tell people is it is also a symptom of this era because we're always so quick to point out guys' numbers. Look what he did. Look at the numbers.
Yes.
And that is cool. That's cool. But the regular season, you make your name. When the money's on the line, is where you make your fame. And he's come up short more times than not. And and he's not alone in that. I could go down to a laundry list of ball-dominant players who are terrific players, but I don't think you were ever going to win a title with them as your best player playing that style of basketball. So I'm with you. James Harden has been a horrible clutch times Game 7 performer, but he's not alone.
Yeah, facts. Hey, whoever said he was better than Wade needs to taste smack out of their mouth.
I'm not an advocate for the violence, but I'm 100% on board with Cottrell's sentiment.
Yeah. The thought process.
Again, that's the argument, right?
Right.
Statistically, you would look at Harden's career and the fact that he's an MVP and go, well, the numbers say he's way better than Wade. But if you saw both of them play,
it's a different story.
And you saw Wade in bigger moments, and you saw Wade on the defensive side of the floor, you know damn well who's the better player.
Yeah. Facts. You see what my brother Gene had to say. Gene is a bit. James Harden is a bit. Oh, never mind. All right.
And I didn't even know that story that you led with, that he flew a certain
adult entertainer.
Yeah,
I'll send it.
I don't even know what that's about and why.
I'll send it to you.
That makes me want to say, Will, that's so James Harden, right? Going into the Game 7, I know what I need to focus on.
We talked about it on Sports Report last night. I'll send it to you as well so you can see it. Complete tomfoolery. Jesus, can you guys give me your top 5 for next 5 NBA? I'm interested in Ant versus Luka.
I don't know what top 5 for the next 5, like the top 5 players, right? Is that what you're saying for the next 5 years?
I think so.
I can tell you right now, and I'm a Laker fan. I would take Ant over Luka. I think he's a better basketball player.
I do too. Overall, I think so too.
He's a better basketball player. Luka's going to put up gaudy numbers. He put up gaudy numbers in the series this year.
Yep, it's just his defense.
That didn't change the fact that they got waxed.
Yeah.
Again, we can have a whole nother conversation about Luka. He is not an easy guy to play with. He's not. He is not an easy guy to play with. So look, if you're asking me who I would take in the next 5 between those two, I would take Ant.
Me too. We got something going in the chat, you guys. We got something going on in the chat. CP3 too, Mo.
Yes, 100%. I'm always giving Chris Paul his flowers, but he has come up short more times than not. Cottrell, we're on the same page. I don't know how many times I've gone back and forth with Chris, and because Chris is a huge CP3 fan. And it's not that I'm not. I'm just pointing out he's come up short too. Like I said, James Harden's not alone.
Oh, no. Heck no. Now, Gene wants to know what's going on. Can someone help me understand what CP3 did to Cottrell? Something happened there. Investigate.
He said what he did to Cottrell.
What did CP3? What did you do to my guy Cottrell? What did you do, bro? What did you do? I see where Cottrell goes with that. And look, after they lost that series to Milwaukee, I thought he should have retired at that point.
Now I'll disagree with you on that. I think that Chris Paul he's not a star anymore, but what he's done is he's found a role for him as a good basketball player. He had a good season last year for the Spurs, and I would assume they would have him back if he's planning on coming back, obviously in a different role because they've got De'Aaron Fox. Although in this NBA, it wouldn't shock me if there are times in the game they'd have them both on the floor because there are very few 2 guards in the current NBA that post up. Very few. Very few. So you can You can have smaller guards on the floor.
The days of Gary Payton posting up are long gone. Gene said, yes, give me your top 5 best players in the NBA for the next 5.
Well, I got Ant. I don't think I got Wemby. I think Wemby's going to be in the top 5. That's a hard one because Joker and Giannis are literally in their prime, but in 5 years they're going to both be 33, 34.
Mid-30s.
So I don't
30s.
Look, in today's NBA, guys do play longer at a higher level. Look at Durant, Steph, and LeBron. But I can't guarantee you Joker is going to be there. But I will say this. If I had a choice between Joker and Giannis at that age, I think Joker will still be a great player.
Oh, yeah.
Giannis's skill set is so unique. I don't know if he's going to be able to do what he's doing 34, 35.
It's based so much on his being his game is based so much on him being such a hell of an athlete.
Right. And I don't know how that's going to age because he's never developed a go-to move. So I'm a huge fan. I'm thinking about it in the East. What players in the East would be impactful that could be a top 5 player? It's funny because you would argue that some of the best players are in the West.
Yeah.
Because I think Jalen Brunson will be terrific. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 player in 5 years. He's actually older than a lot of people realize. I don't think he's going to be a top 5 player.
No.
I don't. I think Tatum is just outside top 5. I think he'll still be just outside top 5.
Where you got Jaylen Brown?
I don't know, 15, 20 maybe.
Yeah,
that's not
it's not a knock. That's not a knock either.
He's a really good player, and I know he's got a Finals MVP on the resume, but he's still the second best player on that team. And like Donovan Mitchell's going to be in his early 30s. I don't think he's going to be top 5, and he never has been. No. And he's a terrific player. Please, this isn't kill Donovan Mitchell. I think you have to look at some of the younger players coming in. Look, we talked about this, Will. If Cooper Flag is everything we think he is, he's going to be top 5. If he's everything we think he is, he's going to be right there with Wemby, right there with Ant. I think Luka will still be top 5.
Yeah,
Luka's 26. He's just going into the prime. And here's the crazy part. People are like, oh, you just said Luka Ant's going to be. I think Ant's a better player. It doesn't mean that Luka can't be a dominant player.
Right.
He's a dominant player the same way that we can call James Harden's shortcomings, right? But James Harden has played in multiple conference finals as a best player. So obviously there is a level of success you can have. The only question is, can you ever get over the hump with that guy?
Let me see. Cottrell said he just likes to hold everybody accountable. He just be randomly bringing him up all the time. Cottrell said it was on topic this time though.
CP3 stuff.
CP3 hamstring ended his title chances. That 3-2 lead over Golden State and then his hamstring injury. Nope. Yeah, true. Cottrell this says so the top 5: Wemby, Jokic, Flag, and Luka.
Yeah,
it says Joker, Wemby, Luka, Giannis, Ant. Ooh.
Yeah, I think we said all those. Did he say Cade Cunningham? Maybe. I think Cade. I think maybe is the way you add it, but I think Cottrell's list is kind of where I'm at. I don't think Giannis is going to be top 5 at 34, 35. He might prove me wrong, but I think with his skill set, unless he develops a go-to move that he currently does not possess, I don't think that's going to age well.
Jalen Green?
What about Come on. See, Cottrell is up in the chat. He's just starting stuff. Look, I'm not going to say anything negative about the spokesperson for Wingstop. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give him credit for that.
He said Wingstop.
You see the commercial all the time, right?
Yeah, you do.
I have to believe the brilliant ad executive said one of the faces of the league, that guy's fired. He's so fired.
Oh man, he said that was for you. That was just for you, Mo.
I know. I know.
Oh my
Come on,
goodness.
man. I like that kid. I don't want nobody to think I don't like the kid. I would love him. I would love him on my team. I would love him on the Lakers, but just in a different role that he currently plays.
There was a subject that came up on ESPN yesterday, and I saw it somewhere else a couple of days beforehand. And I want to get your opinions on it. Could you see Kevin Durant in a Houston Rockets uniform?
I have to. Here's the thing: Houston has Phoenix's draft picks.
They do,
right? So they can literally go, we're open for business, and would you like your draft picks back? Because clearly Phoenix is built to win now, right? I mean, not Phoenix. The Rockets are built to win now.
Yes.
You get Kevin Durant. Here's the thing about getting Kevin Durant, though. My only hitch in that is, yes, KD immediately would give you a closer, but for how long? He's 36. He's 36. And the argument would be, well, you only need it for 1 year if you win a title.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just end the story here. KD to the Rockets, they're not winning the title.
Mo wrote his eulogy last week.
That's not true, man. That's not true. Not true. I don't think you're gonna win a title. I think that you need to get somebody. They do need a closer. They need a legitimate number one to pair with Sengun. But I think you want somebody younger than 36. Like I would value Booker more than I would value Durant at this stage.
And even with, here's my issue. That's a physical basketball team. They play physical. They play hard. Would Kevin Durant be able to fit into that profile?
I mean, he's not a great one-on-one defender, but even at this stage of his career, he's a pretty good weak side defender. He's a pretty good rim protector. So I still think he has value. And I think, it's a terrific and it's a physical team, but you got to be able to score. You got to be able to get. You do.
It's a scoring league,
right? You got to be able to say, like, okay, defense isn't working tonight, but you know what? That guy right there is a bucket. We know he's a bucket. And it's weird. We keep talking about he's a physical team. Well, they got a couple of players on their team that are not very physical. Physical. Jalen Green, not physical.
This is true.
Sengun, incredibly skilled for a big, but he's actually not physical. Not really.
I need Sengun to get stronger.
Yeah, he need to get in the weight room. Like he need to get in the weight room because he's got to be able to finish in the restricted area much better than he does now. Like little men challenge him, and he just doesn't finish well. And that's a problem for them. Look, I think Coach Udoka is the right man for the job. I think in any trade scenario, Amir Thompson's untouchable. You're not getting him. You're not getting Tari Eason. You're not getting Sengun. Like to me, those three are untouchable. But if you're talking about anybody else, Van Vliet, Green, Dylan Brooks, not untouchable. That I would use those three in any number of combinations to go out and try to strike a deal with somebody. The best partner, I guess, is clearly Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I feel like Coach Udoka is one of those dudes that lives for now and in the future. 36-year-old Kevin Durant's not part of your future.
Could you see with those picks, could you see maybe a player? I'll go out on a limb and a long shot. I don't think it happens, but could you see a player like Lauri Markkanen become a Rocket?
The thing about Markkanen is we know he's talented. Again, but talent and how you apply it are two different things.
True.
A lot of people will tell you, well, Markkanen's a number one. He is not. Markkanen's he's a number two. He's not shown he can be a number two on a winning team. Why would I think that? So if he's a three, why would you want him? What do you need that for? Like, I don't get. He doesn't fit with what they do anyway. He's big, but he's not physical. He's not even part of what they do. No. And you don't need him and Sengun on the floor together. Like, I think Lauri Markkanen is very talented. Here's a good example: Sabonis, who plays for the Kings. Everybody loves Sabonis, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ain't nobody gonna break their neck to go get Sabonis.
This is true.
There's a reason for that. That he is all numbers, no substance, but all numbers. And
Fits good in that system. I just don't think he'll be good in anybody else's.
but he fits
system.
good. He fits good in a system that allows him to do what he does.
Yep.
And they're a mediocre team as
Yeah.
he does. Like, he doesn't impact winning. He does get numbers. He's a terrific rebounder. Can facilitate to a degree, but you can't throw the ball in the post to him and say, "We need a basket." That
Right.
ain't who. That's not who he is. He's
Right.
not somebody you can build around. Now, Sacramento took a gamble and said, "We can build around him," but that's why they're Sacramento.
Mo, let me ask you this, changing subjects here on Wild Sports. What would you rather see first? Steph Curry winning his 5th or Ant-Man winning his 1st?
Ooh. The story, you know what? For the story and the intrigue, I think it would be Steph, right? It would be Steph. But I think maybe for the bigger picture and the health of the league, I think it would be good if Ant, in other words, right? If Ant won in Minnesota, a small market team who's never won anything, right? They've never won anything.
Yep.
That would be amazing, and that would be a big up for the league. I think. Look, Adam Silver wants an NBA Finals that's going to draw incredible ratings. So you probably don't want Cavs, Timberwolves. I don't think that's going to do that great in ratings. But if you get Timberwolves and Celtics, if you get Timberwolves and Knicks, that's going to do great. That's going to do fine.
Don't say Knicks.
I know how you feel about
that. Don't say Knicks.
I'm not saying the Knicks I'm just talking about a matchup that could work. The Celtics would work too.
I don't want to see that.
Here's one I'm gonna throw out there, that if I wanted a certain player to win a title, because he's taken a lot of strays too, especially over the last 4 seasons, I would not be mad if the Nuggets were to win it all and Russ be a big part of that, like he has been up until this point in the postseason. He played great in the postseason. If Russell Westbrook was to win a title, I think that'd be amazing.
He's already a Hall of Famer. That's the only thing he's missing.
Yeah.
Missing.
And that would be great to add on his resume, because a lot of people was kicking dirt over him like he was done. And I just really think he was in some bad situations. The way they use him in Denver, it's perfect. He's a perfect six man to play off a Joker with ball movement and body movement, because Russ is cutting more off the ball than I've ever seen him cut. But he realizes who he plays with. He knows his role on that team. So look, I think it'd be interesting if Steph Curry won that 5th ring. I've already heard people say, like, well, Steph wins 5th, you got to push him ahead of LeBron as the GOAT. And I'm like, stop.
Let's calm down for a second.
Stop talking like that. If Steph Curry wins his 5th, yes, he would have 5 titles. What wouldn't change is he's not a better player than LeBron James. And it's not like they're almost kind of close. They're almost not. They're not close at all. I'm good with anybody that says Steph's a top 10 player. But he's a top 10 player like he's number 10.
Let me catch up with the chat a little bit. Cottrell said the Cavs will draw. Donovan Mitchell. Okay, I can hear that, Mo. And then he says, let Russ cook.
Sure.
You're talking about Westbrook, not Wilson.
Right. Look, if Russell Westbrook continues to give the Nuggets what they're getting from him off the bench, I think it becomes a great story. Cottrell just said it. I think people get too much. It's one of the great Pat Riley's line of all time. It's the fever of right now. We can give Steph his flowers. But if you go on TikTok, I think on Facebook, they make these videos, and these guys are like, if you put Magic Johnson in today's NBA, you know what I'm not doing? I'm not guarding him. I'm just playing off him because he can't shoot. Where is this insanity coming from? We are talking about a guy that can play all 5 positions, right?
Right.
Because he can play all 5. Now, is he a shooter like Steph Curry? No. But here's what I would say. If we're going to allow for the fact that we believe the great players from today would adjust to the play of yesteryear, then I have to believe the great players of the past they would adjust to the way the game's being played now because they would value the 3-point shot now. They would practice more on the 3-point shot now. Magic Johnson shoots a set shot. He shoots six shot threes per game. Here's what I know about Magic Johnson's his last 3 seasons in the NBA. Not as a whole. 2 of the last 3 seasons Irvin Johnson played, he shot 37% from 3. So can Magic Johnson adjust and play in today's game? Of course he would.
Yeah.
Especially with the floor spaced. I'm not talking about Magic Johnson near the end. I'm talking about because we always take the players from yesteryear and we always get the older version. I'm talking about Magic Johnson that led Showtime. That
Magic Johnson.
That guy that can lead your fast break, that can take smaller point guards into the post.
Oh yeah.
So I love giving Steph his credit. I just think too many people jump into the and clearly because he's a better shooter. If we were going to do it that way, then just on shooting and he's terrific off the ball, his ball movement is another one of Steph's superpowers. Then Steph would be the GOAT, right? We would just go. That's the greatest player of all time. I watched Steph Curry from college to right now,
I
think he's been terrific.
If somebody and I didn't mean to interrupt. If somebody told me that Steph is the greatest shooter of all time, I got you. You can't really dispute that argument. But greatest point guard, like Control just said, Steph ain't better than Magic.
He's not. And Control brought up another thing. He said Bron couldn't shoot for a decade. He couldn't. Here's the thing. He couldn't shoot for a decade, and nobody could stop him.
Right.
Look. I hate to rain on people's parade. When Steph won the MVP, the first and only unanimous MVP, that is something that he can always stand on.
Yep.
But the same way that when Charles Barkley won an MVP, when Karl Malone won an MVP, they ended up facing the guy that's actually a better basketball player than them, and he beat them.
Yep.
Well, Steph ended up facing a guy that's a better basketball player, and that guy beat him. At no point was Steph ever a better basketball player than LeBron James. He's not. And I do pay attention to you guys on the sports reports every chance I get. I went in for a little bit last night, but I had to bounce.
I saw you.
You guys were talking. I think at some point somebody was like they were doing their all-time list and they had Kobe. I think they had Kobe too. And look, I'm a Laker fan, but don't make me tell the truth. Kobe's not one of the 2 greatest players to ever play. Don't make me say it, but I'll say it because it's true. He's not top 2. He's not top 3. He's not top 4. Somebody might have him 5, and I don't think 5 is crazy, but top 2, that's insane. That's insane talk.
Real quick, 2 different players. The Discord of Bron. Steph is already a thing. The Bron stands are infuriated. She said, "I'm ready for the man to retire."
Yeah, I'm here for it, but it's so to say they're just 2 different players, though. I don't want to make it seem like they're 2 different players, so you can't judge them. No, LeBron James is a better basketball player. Like, let's not confuse that. He's a better basketball player, not sort of, kind of, just outright. Like the difference between him and Steph Curry in terms of where they rank, one people are saying is no worse than the second greatest player to ever do it. The other guy's in the top 10. That's a huge separation.
So let me ask you this, going back to Kobe for a minute. Where would you rate Kobe? Because I think a lot of times Kobe doesn't get the flowers that he deserves from some people.
I've heard people say that.
There's a dude on TikTok, and I cannot remember his name. I think he picked Kobe I think he got Kobe at 11.
You're talking about this guy they call Unc, right? They call him
him.
Kind of got the gray whiskers like somebody else you might know.
Yeah.
And so he said he had him at 11, and of course the guy he was, I think, having a debate with looks like he's like 12, and so the 12-year-old is like, "Are you crazy? What?" I established that I thought Kobe was a top 10 player. I don't think that's debatable to me. To me, Now you could argue you could have him anywhere from 5 to 7, or I'm okay with that. But to have him outside the top 10, yeah, I can't go there. I don't even understand how that can be. That can be a thing outside the top 10. Like if Kobe's 11, where's Steph? 12, 13, 14. Like if Kobe's 11, again, I don't want people to confuse Steph Curry being the greatest shooter of all time. And look, he's not just a shooter, because it disrespects his overall impact on a basketball game. True. His movement off the ball, his ability to make these crazy shots that nobody else can make. Like you remember playing basketball in high school, if you took a shot like that, you sit next to the coach. Okay, yep. You sit, yep. But he's actually made that normal. He's had that kind of impact on the NBA, and I think his overall impact on the game, along with his career, it makes Steph a top 10 player, but not in a way where Kobe's not in the top 10. Right. I don't understand where he's coming from on that one.
I don't get it either. Let me see. Kobe better than Russell.
I mean, look. So Brett and I give our top 10s out, and we do it post merger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we do it post merger because how can I rank Elgin Baylor, Jerry West, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, because they came from a golden era that I didn't see them, right? I've seen the old footage. I'm sure you see the old footage, but you can look at their numbers. But here's the thing: if I just judge them on their numbers, they'd be in the top 10, man. If you just went on numbers, right? I don't know how to judge those players, and I don't want to disrespect them. So when we do our top 10s, we do it post merger.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? I can't I can't take away from a man that won 11 titles, and then go the guy that won 11 titles. He's not even a thought to me. That I can't do that. Right. I think Kobe was sensational. I think I have him ranked 6th. I think Gene has him 4 or 5, somewhere in that vein. And again, I don't think those are crazy takes. Those aren't crazy takes. No. Let's agree on this. We have him in the top 10. We might disagree on where we have him in the top.
But he is a top 10 player.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
I don't, and no disrespect to but I just don't see how you have him at 11. I don't see it. Let me see. Bron is a better outright overall basketball player. Steph Curry single-handedly changed the way the game is played with his versatility off the ball, and shooting is one of the better shooters the league has seen. This is true.
Yeah, but it's everything that Jury just said. That's why that gets him into the top 10.
Right.
It's when I hear like some of those same dudes that debate Unc on TikTok go, well, that's what makes Steph should be in the GOAT conversation. If you want to say, look at Steph Curry's career resume, look at his impact on the game, and he should be given a courtesy of why he should be the GOAT, I got you. But if you actually out believe that Steph Curry is one of the 5 greatest players to play in the NBA, then you don't know basketball.
And that's a good point with his influence, because you see a lot of players be influenced by what he has done. Not only men, but the women's game too.
Right. And so the influence that's it. The impact. Steph Curry, the reason why guys shoot 9 and 10 threes a game, that's because of Steph Curry.
Yep.
It's become a normalized shot, but he made it so. He did. And I think he deserved that kind of credit. But when you start trying to compare him, because this is what we do. We go in a room and we compare the greats. He has a different kind of skill set that can make him an incredibly tough cover, right? Because he just runs you to death and it's relentless, and that's one of his superpowers.
Right.
Whereas Kobe Bryant is just unguardable, right? He don't got to run behind. Like Steph needs to run behind screens and move like that to be Steph. Kobe Bryant doesn't need to come off a pin down or anything like that. He can literally by himself destroy the man in front of him. Michael Jordan could destroy the man in front of him. There are different superpowers. I think theirs are greater superpowers than his superpower. I think his impact on the game, though, that's why he's in the top 10.
Yeah.
Somebody did something last night. It wasn't you guys. It might have been the same guy that debates Unc. They were having that back and forth, and he was like, "Well, Steph's not a 4-time champion because of Durant. He won without Durant, then he won with Durant, and then he won without Durant." And I'm like, "Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't act like Durant didn't exist. Because if Durant doesn't exist, you don't know if Steph would have had another title."
True.
What I've been consistent with is this: if Durant doesn't play for Golden State, LeBron would have already had 6 titles.
Let me go back here. I'm not calling a guy with 1 Finals MVP my GOAT. Nope. I feel you on that. Magic had to play center as rookie to win the ring. I do remember that. Going back possible to top that for Steph.
Max.
Bill was the same size as Wilt, and Wilt put up inhumane stats. Bill was an 18-10 guy. Steph is so good. He recruited the second best player in the league to join us 73 and 9 Warriors because they couldn't beat Bron. Not even a discussion for top 10 for me.
And so look, and Cottrell's don't even have Steph top 10. I don't think that's a crazy take because I have him in the top 10 just at 10, right? He's just in. But you can make a take that he's not top 10. And that was my point. These people that want to act like the Durant years didn't exist, like this is what you do.
They did.
LeBron, when LeBron won titles, who was the best player? It was LeBron. You didn't debate it.
Right.
You knew.
Right.
When Michael Jordan was winning titles, nobody said, I don't know. You knew who the best player was.
Yep.
Steph Curry won 2 of his titles on a team where somebody else was the best player.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I have a silly question for you, Mo. It's just a silly question. We saw it during the regular season. Can Rudy get revenge on Draymond?
That's a great question. And somebody asked me that the other day, and I was like, I don't know if I want him to. I don't. No. I mean, because look, we're humans. There are players that you like, you respect, or what they do, or whatever. I don't know if Rudy's ever been one of my favorite players, but I will say this: even though I recognize how great a basketball player Draymond Green is in his role and what he does for the Warriors, he's never been one of my favorite players. I've never, and this is before the all the extra stuff. I've never really liked him like that. But I give him flowers before how he developed and found that role where he is starred in a way where he's going to be a Hall of Famer. But because we were talking about the conversation earlier that you asked me about Ant winning it all, I would like the Timberwolves to go to the finals. If the Nuggets aren't going to win it all, because I've got a sentimental thing for Russ to win a title, I have no problem with Anthony Edwards going to the finals. And even if he matches up with a Celtics team that is a better team,
yes,
I think Anthony Edwards can make that a great series.
We are finishing things up here on Coffee and Sports in the Morning on Wire to Wire Sports Network. Got about 10 minutes left to go on the show. Going to switch over to the NFL for a quick moment. Want to ask you about Justin Tucker being released due to sexual misconduct allegations. We did see in the draft that Baltimore did select the kicker. What are your thoughts about Justin Tucker being released, and who do you think might pick him up?
I think the Ravens did what they thought was necessary. One, they said it was about the decision was about football. Which, if you saw the year that he had last year,
it was a down year.
He was bad. It wasn't just down. It was very bad. So you can say it was for football reasons. And yet, I think most of us with common sense would go, we know why. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I think somebody will pick him up. I think somebody will consider picking him up. They'll probably have the team, if they have team investigators or league investigators do their due diligence and look into this, because look, nobody wants to sign up for a PR nightmare.
No.
And if these allegations or things are still ongoing, if I were a GM and I needed a kicker and this was still an ongoing story, I'm not touching that guy.
Cottrell says the Browns do need a kicker. They do.
Cottrell is wild. He is wild. He is wild. I get it. They do, but I don't know. Can you really have Justin Tucker and Watson on that roster?
I don't think you can. I don't think you can. Let me switch gears for a second here. Him and Deshaun Watson can go in the meetings together.
See what I mean? See what I mean? Cottrell is on fire, yo.
He was on fire this morning in the chat. Oh my goodness, he is on fire this morning in the chat. All right. We got 9 minutes left to go here. Coffee and Sports in the morning, Water Round Sports. I'm going to finish up with some WWE. We do everything on this. We do everything on this show. Wanted to ask you, did you get a chance to catch Monday Night Raw and that Paul Heyman promo?
I did.
Ooh. Wait. That man was on fire.
Only Heyman could come out there and preach himself into being the victim. It was a great promo. It was a great promo. Look, it's his gift, right? It's what makes him an all-time great. And he's never been an in-ring guy per se, but that's why he's great, because of what he can do with a microphone. And he did it in a way where, because he carried that promo between he and Jey Uso, it was perfect, because Jay can talk a little bit, but he's not really gifted on the mic per se.
Right.
He's fans just really bond with Jey Uso. They just love Jey Uso, and I get that. Yeah, right. But what Heyman was doing, that story that he told, how he broke down CM Punk and then Reigns, that was an amazing promo. And then he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm actually here for you too. I didn't even plan on talking about that." And when he said, like, "We're here for the belt," we're not really, you know what I mean? Like you got the belt, he said, but Seth Rollins needs the belt. I just thought the setup was amazing. And then, of course, they get the match going and you get the run-ins, all the extra stuff. And it's interesting because they want Logan Paul to go at Jey Uso, but you know and I know that at some point Seth Rollins is going to be wearing that belt. I think they're going to set Jey Uso up for failure. I think they're going to put him in a triple threat with Seth Rollins and Logan Paul, and he's not winning that.
Listen, we talked earlier. We talked when he won the title. We both transitional champion.
And I love Jay. I think he's proven he can be a very, very good one-on-one competitor. But I think if he's going to make a living as a one-on-one competitor and hold a belt, then he's probably going to hold the U.S. belt or the IC belt for a long time. Not the heavyweight title. Oh yeah. And finally, to finish things up here this morning, Coffee and Sports in the morning. Yeah, some WWE releases and some WWE bringovers. It looks like Alberto Del Rio is on his way back after WWE absorbed his contract from AAA. What are your thoughts on Alberto Del Rio possibly coming back? Well, they brought back Rusev, so I guess they're bringing the band back together. They bring him back, but man, when they fire people, they purge, don't they? Like,
oh yeah, they do.
They don't go like, we released 3 people. Like they release like 20 people.
I got something for you. Since 2025, since the year started, look how many people got released.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I get it. Some guys' storylines run dry. Honestly, let's keep it a buck. What could they do? What could they do with Braun Strowman? Because I don't know what you could do with that. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to be wearing the heavyweight title. He's not. I don't know if he's going to wear any title. So what? I don't know how much story you could do unless you did a faction and he became kind of like the the bodyguard or whatever you want to call it of the faction, right? Because he's obviously built for that type of role. Like, I don't know a lot of things you can do with him. They did release a lot of talent, and when I saw that, the first thing I thought of is AEW is going to sign some of them people.
the three that made me upset. I didn't want to see Cora go. I didn't want to see Gigi Dolan go.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't want to, and I realized you might not have anything for him, but I didn't want to see Jakar Jackson go either.
Yeah,
Cora Jade, I think they wanted something with Cora Jade. I really did.
I think so too. With Jackson, I think they were just wasting a talent. He's talented. They're just wasting a talent. She should not have been released.
No,
she should not have been released. I thought that if you gave her the right storyline and the right person to work with, she could blow up. Blow up. And they decided to go in another direction. And I fully understand it. It's just tough to see because, you know, like you watch these people for 2 or 3 years, you get invested in them, and you think, okay, eventually they're going to bring them up and give them a storyline, and they don't.
Right. It was also rumored that WWE is trying to, or they've shown interest, I should say, about bringing back Ronda Rousey. I don't know if I want to see that.
I've seen enough for her in the WWE. I'm good. Like, I'm straight. If you don't want to keep Shayna Baszler, why would you bring back Ronda Rousey? Like,
that was the match she lost.
You know, right?
To get her up out of there.
Right. So if you don't want to keep Baszler, then why would you bring in Ronda Rousey? I'm just saying.
All right, you guys. All right. I just want to say thank you for everybody coming through this morning. We do appreciate your support, showing us love in the chat. We do appreciate it. We are at the 57-minute mark. Mo, go ahead and take us on out.
Hey, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network. We appreciate you.
All right, you guys. That's going to do it for us here this morning on Coffee and Sports in the Morning. I will see you guys next week right here on this same network, same bad time, same bad channels. For myself and Mo, we'll see you later.